Greetings, salutations, and all that hello stuff. I'm Brett. Many of you know me as Bomber Canuck. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas with your families and friends. I myself was unfortunately not able to spend time with my family for the holidays this year due to circumstances outside of my control. However, I did connect with a group of friends from my church, many of whom were in similar situations as myself, and we held what we refer to as an orphan's Christmas. We had a delicious hot pot dinner and played a bunch of games together. I had a wonderful time, and I want to give a special shout out to my friends Phil and Samara for inviting me and hosting such a great event. I wanted to make this video because today is a special anniversary for me. It was 5 years ago today that I recorded and posted a video publicly coming out as a gay man, and I'll share a link to that video in the description of this one. Now, as many of you know, that was a huge turning point in my life. After decades of living in fear and denial, I was finally able to acknowledge and accept who I am as a human being. And in doing so, I felt a huge sense of relief and liberty that I had never experienced before. So I wanted to share a little bit about what's been going on in my life since then, what has changed, and what my hopes and goals for the future are. Again, I'm reading from a script I prepared ahead of time so I can try to stay focused and hopefully not start babbling incoherently. Now, as I mentioned, I posted my coming out video at the end of December 2019. At that time, I had big hopes for the following year. I was planning to take full advantage of my newfound joy and freedom, and I was eager to begin dating and possibly pursuing some manner of love life. However, that wasn't meant to be, at least not right away. As we all know, the year 2020 saw the entire world crippled and shut down because of a global coronavirus pandemic. Everyone everywhere was impacted, and I was no exception. In March of that year, I was laid off from my job at the church I had been working at for a long time, and I spent the next 6 months unemployed before the church rehired me. So, because of the pandemic, my pursuit of love, along with just about everything else, had to be put on hold. It wasn't until November 2021 that I finally caught a break. Through my online connections that I had made through my streaming and broadcasting gig, I was able to reconnect with a friend I knew from my childhood. We started messaging back and forth, and then we started meeting up for coffee and lunch dates, and we've seen each other casually several times since then. Since publicly coming out, this is honestly the first shot I've ever had at being in a relationship. The whole concept of dating and having a love life is still a fairly new one to me, and to be honest, it has been a bit of a roller coaster ride. This calls to mind one particular video on social media I came across earlier this year, one that really resonated with me, and I'll share a link to it in the description. In the video, the poster, who is a gay bodybuilder and an Episcopal priest, talks about what he describes as gay adolescence. He spoke about how gay men who come out later in life often go through a lot of turbulent experiences and emotions that most people, regardless of who they are, would typically go through in their mid to late teenage years. His words really hit close to home for me because at 41 years old, I'm going through many of the things he described, and it has been an interesting journey trying to process it all. Earlier in this video, I mentioned I would address the question of what has changed in my life, and the short answer is some things have, other things have not. One of the biggest things that has changed is my job, and please forgive me for going off on a little tangent here. You may recall from my previous video that I changed jobs several times between the fall of 2015 and summer of 2016. Well, I had a little bit of history repeating in 2022. In March of that year, I stepped down from full time work at the church in order to pursue what seemed like a lucrative job opportunity with another employer. As it turned out, that job was not all it was cracked up to be, and I ended up resigning only a couple of months later. By then, it was too late to return to my previous position, so I began looking elsewhere, and after about a month, I was able to get a job at a grocery store in my neighborhood. It was only part time work at first, but through a series of events that resulted in other staff members leaving the team, I was able to take on additional duties and work my way up to a full time position at the store. I've been there about 2.5 years now, and so far, things are going reasonably well. And although I am no longer employed at the church, I still am active in their community, and I regularly sing and play piano with the worship band for their weekend services. One thing that has remained the same is my connections to my family and most of my friends. Since coming out publicly, nothing on that front has changed very much. My life hasn't necessarily gotten any better, but it hasn't gotten any worse either. The only real difference is that everyone now knows or has confirmed their suspicions that I'm gay. However, the same can be said of the state of my mental health. It also has not changed, and that has not been a good thing. I still have been dealing with recurring moments of depression, and I feel that much of it has to do with loneliness and isolation. Even though I've now started dating, I don't get to do it very often. Similarly, I've been trying to get out more and hang out with close friends. However, that too has proven to be a challenge. People in my circles of influence lead busy lives, and in most cases, that involves careers or relationships with spouses and children. As a result, priorities and schedules rarely align to allow for meetups. I guess it's all a part of growing up and getting older for most people. Unfortunately, that often leaves me spending a lot of time by myself. Now, I still fancy myself a very strong introvert, and I thrive and recharge on my alone time. But there is such thing as too much of a good thing, and I acknowledge that I still need to be around people every so often, even if it's just for a short while here and there. This is why I still need help to make meetups with friends happen, so that I can alleviate these feelings of depressed loneliness that are still quite prevalent in my life. So, what's next for me? Well, to be honest, I don't really know. I've never really had a set plan for my life. I've always kind of just done whatever I feel like until I get tired of it, and then I would look for something else. For the most part, I'm content with my life. My job is going well, and I still enjoy gaming and streaming and making music. However, I do want to improve my mental health, and that will entail making some moves to change my social situation. In particular, I want to strengthen my connections with my current friends and acquaintances and possibly meet other people. I've been toying with the idea of doing some traveling over the next 12 months to meet up with friends, both old and new. I also would like to take further steps in finding and exploring love. Now, I'm not entirely sure what any of that looks like yet, but I'm hopeful I can figure that out soon. I'm not much of a spring chicken anymore, and I feel like I've missed out on a lot of opportunities in life already, so I want to make the most of the time I have left on this earth before it's gone. And I really hope I can count on you, my family, friends, and supporters, to keep in touch with me and to help me and stand by me on my journey. If you would like to meet up with me, no matter where you are, please contact me. I would love to hear from you. All of my social links will be in the description of this video. Let's make the coming years the best that they can be. Well, that's all I wanted to say for now. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And remember, hug your friends, hug your family members, because you just never know. I love you all, and I hope to connect with you again soon. Bye for now.